The New Testament teaches if we confess our sins, God is faithful and just and will forgive our sins and cleanse us from all unrighteousness. In other words, forgiveness is grace, liberation, freedom from guilt, the opportunity for new beginnings unfettered by past mistakes. But Jesus also taught his disciples to pray, "Forgive us our debts as we forgive our debtors," meaning that forgiveness is covenantal. It is both request and require. We request that God will forgive us, and we are required to offer that same gift to our neighbors. Forgiveness equals grace and covenant. In truth, the act of forgiving does as much for me as for the one I forgive, sometimes probably even more. Bitterness is a terrible burden to carry around, and it has costly consequences, spiritually, emotionally, sometimes even physically. The simple truth is, hatred and happiness are mutually exclusive emotions. Years ago, I knew a woman who needed surgery. She went to the office of a very fine physician in a place called Roxborough, North Carolina. He examined her, explained what the procedure would be like, and quoted her a price. She became enraged, thinking his price was unreasonable. She called him a gold digger and said she was driving 30 miles down the road to a major university medical center, quote, "where they know what they're doing." With that, she stormed out of his office. When she got her consultation at the major medical center, she learned that the procedure there would cost several $1,000s more than if she had had it done back in her small hometown. But she told me with a grin, "I'm a proud person, so I was not going to go back to him and admit that I was wrong." On the day before the surgery, a member of the staff at the University Medical Center told her that her surgery was tricky, that not just anyone could do it properly. So he had enlisted the best of the best to perform her operation. He had called in the man who taught the med school students there how to do that particular surgery. Who was standing behind the consulting physician, looking over his shoulder and grinning from ear to ear, but the surgeon from Roxborough, who she had seen originally? He winked at her and said, "I'm a lot more expensive down here, aren't I?" She told me that story, laughed, and said, "I guess it never pays to be unforgiving." There's a brand of ice cream available called guilt-free. It's really not so bad. Well, that's how the Apostles' Creed says we can feel. If we confess our sins, God is faithful and just and will forgive our sins and cleanse us from all unrighteousness. But remember, forgiveness is about grace and covenant. What were Jesus' words? "Forgive us our debts as we forgive our debtors." We receive what we provide, forgiveness of sin and freedom from the burden of hatred. Not a bad offer, this guilt-free kind of living. Think about these questions. First, what is the difference between guilt and resentment? Second, what are the benefits to you that are found in forgiving others? Third, what steps are involved in forgiving yourself? I'll see you next week.